Good morning, my friends. Welcome back. It's Belinda here. I've got a project for you today that I have had some real fun with, and I hope that it's something that you'll have fun with too. I am working with All Things Roses from the Junk Journal Studio. Now, when this video goes up, you'll only have a day or two to grab those freebies for All Things Roses. So if you haven't grabbed them, if you haven't checked out all the design team members videos, then please jump on that. You're going to want these papers, I promise. Today I'm going to be working with a paper from each of two of my fellow design team members. So this green one here, I don't know how well you can see the pattern. Super pretty, sort of greeny blue, so let's say teal. This one is from Annie at Vintage Lace Journal. All the links to all the design team members' channels will be in the description box, guys. So easy peasy, head to the description box where it says more at the bottom of the video, or maybe a little down arrow, and you'll find all the links. So that's from Vintage Lace Journal, and then this yellow and brown one from Mindy at Minda's78. So I'm going to be using those two pages today. I've already trimmed them down, so like they obviously are normal size pages, but I've already trimmed those to size. We are going to be using the ephemera that's already up on Etsy to purchase. I've been really inspired by like the tea cards, the labels, like there's just so many of them, lots to play with. We're also going to be using some book page, some lace, glue, scissors, you know, the works. So this is my little prototype. Oh, and coffee dyed paper. I'm also using words from Spring Bounty. There are words in the All Things Roses ephemera kit, which I may dip into, but I'm going to be making several, so I don't want them all to be about roses, because I'm not going to make a whole huge amount of rose journals. So I wanted some more generic words, so I'm using Spring Bounty words because I think the colours work really well with this kit. So I've just used the word abundance on this. So what are we making? We're making little bands, decorated bands with labels and lace and stuff that just go around a strip of coffee dyed paper, concertina folded, journaling space. Just a fun way to pop some extra journaling space into a pocket or a tuck spot, or even to send as happy mail. You know, how sweet would this be sent in a little happy mail? Just as a little something. I think it's so cute and so usable. And if the person sort of wrote on this didn't want to keep it like that, they could cut the band apart and use it to decorate something else with. So that's what we're going to make today. So first off, coffee dyed paper. I'm working with A4 sized paper. So if you're working with US letter size, then obviously any measurements I'm going to give you are going to be slightly different. So just bear that in mind. I'm working with A4. So I'm just going to take a piece of coffee dyed paper. I have trimmed it in half lengthways. So that's one piece of paper, and I've just chopped it down the middle. And to fold it, I'm going to make a mess here. All my nice, neat little piles are going to end up all over the place. So just to start with, we're going to fold it in half, and I can see I haven't chopped this straight. That's okay. Just going to fold it in half. Give it a nice good crease. And go fold this one back on itself and line it up with that fold line, like so, and then flip it over and fold this one back to the fold line, or thereabouts. Doesn't need to be too precise. I am just going to give that a wee trim up where it's just a tad too wonky. Searching for a word there. So what is it? What is it? Wonky will do. Okay, so that gives us our little sort of concertina style folded bit of paper. Then we need some strips for the band. So I've gone about 7.5 inches wide. That should be adequate. It's adequate for A4, so if you're working with US letter size, you might be able to come even more. So I trimmed off the end so that I still had a nice, good usable scrap here, rather than trim it into my strips and then just have like little strippy bits left, multiple of them. So just think about which way you're cutting first, and I'm going to do strips of whatever width you like. I am going 1¼ inches for my strips. Let's try and get this kind of straight. So I'm hoping I'm cutting it the right way, because there was not a lot of difference between the height and width of these pieces. And it's like I may have accidentally flipped them around, but they were longer. Like the 7.5 inches was the shorter dimension. So if I flipped it around, it's no biggie. I'll just have extra to cut off. So I'm just going to cut 2 for now. And when I did my prototype, I made my band up, then I added the bits and decorated, and I found that wasn't quite the best way. So it was good that I did a prototype. I am going to be inking, so if that is boring for you, I do apologize. But I do want to ink these because I think it just adds to the prettiness, adds to the overall look. But you absolutely do not have to ink. It's just personal preference and, you know, what style you're going for in any particular journal or gift or whatever. So how are you doing this week, my friends? Have you had a good day today? I hope you're getting up to something creative, exercising that creative part of your brain and your hands and your mind, and making yourself happy with creating. Because it really, I've been thinking about that a lot this week, about how creating brings happiness, or at least it does for me. Okay, no, I'm not going to put it on. That's the mistake I did first time. So I've inked around my band. Now I'm going to choose out some pieces to layer up. So I'm going to start with the biggest element, and I really like these curved labels here. So we've got yellow. I'm thinking I might go with contrast. Oh, although I do like that. Or do I want contrast? Let's try this green one. I think I'm going to go contrast, just because. Now these are printed on presentation paper, but I still, sorry, I'm just brushing out cat fur. Cat fur is so distracting. Actually, I think this is copy paper. It's not presentation paper. It's too light for presentation paper. And I do want it backed. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a bit flimsy, because it's only going to be glued down in the middle here. So to back it, this is where the book page comes in. So any book page on my prototype, wherever I put it, I just used a scrap of white paper. So if I slide it up, you can see just white paper on the back to give it some strength. And I thought, why not use book page? Because then it gives more interest, uses up some of our book page supply. Right, so I'm just going to line it up there, trim around it. Just cut that bit off out of my way. You may have an easier way to do this, but this is the way I do it. It's not the only way, I can guarantee that, but it's the way I do it, so that's what I'm sharing. So just trimming around the edges. Trying not to cut into your label. Okay, then once I've got it trimmed to the exact shape and size, then I come in and I just trim a bit off the sides. Not a huge amount, just a little. And then you could do both ends, but I found one end is sufficient. Just taking off, no, following that curve around. It doesn't matter too much. Checking it for size, and it looks good. Okay. So just leaving a little bit of a border just so it doesn't show around the outside. Alternatively, you could make it slightly bigger and deliberately have it show. That's something that just occurred to me. Okay, so for this, half of it is going to let me stop for a second and gather my thoughts and make a sensible sentence. This part's going to be on the front of your band, so we're going to go ahead and just put a bit of glue where it's going and pop it. I like to center it vertically, but you don't have to, and it doesn't matter really whether it's centered or not, just whatever you like the look of. I do want to try and get it straight though, so that looks better. Okay, then I'm going to come in here, just give a quick check of the text, and it all looks good on both sides, so that's fine. I did not ink my bit, so I'm going to have to try and ink it now that it's glued on. So if you want to ink it before you stick it together. Now which way up does it go? We'll do it that way, just so that the text is the right way up, since there's just one piece of it rather than a collage. Oops. Let's try and put it on straight so it doesn't show around the edges. Okay, so we've now reinforced that. It's not going to go all floppy and weird when we've got it in and out of our pockets. So I am just going to, I'm not going to be able to get the bits along here unless I kind of run my brush. I guess it doesn't matter if it goes onto the band. We can still kind of do that. But so much easier if you do it before you put the pieces together. I've only made one, so I'm still kind of learning tips and tricks as I go along. So learn from my tips and tricks, so you don't have to make the same. Now I'm not inking the back of that, but I am inking the back of this because it sticks up and will be the bit that you see when you take the band off. But again, if I did it before, well, I can't do it before I glue it on. Yes, I could. I would ink right around. Maybe we can just kind of put a little bit there. You could ink the band, the inside of the band if you want. Just going to have a wee sip of my coffee. I put too much milk in my coffee, and so it's like it was just lukewarm when I first made it rather than hot. So if I leave it too long, it's just going to be stone cold. Oh, giving me burpees. So that's going to sit on there, and I'm just going to lay it there so we can kind of visualize what we might want to add. So now it's about layering with whatever choice of labels. There's also faux stamps in the ephemera kit. There are plain labels, there's decorative labels, there's the tea cards in multiple sizes, there's little these sorts of labels, mini ephemera, choosing whatever you like. So in my prototype, I used one of these labels, I used one of these little decorative border labels, and then one of the fussy cut roses. So for this one, maybe I'll go with the tea card. Oh, what about a lovely lady? Might want it this side so that I don't cover over that lovely rose. Do we want the smaller one instead? Let's see if I can find. Oh, any lady will do. It doesn't need to be the same. Oh, there's the blue one. She was the next one in the. Do we want the smaller one instead? If we use a smaller one, do we want to then use maybe something like this? or a different shape, or maybe a smaller one of those. So just playing around until you like what you've got. So many options that you have to play with. I think I like the smaller one there. Maybe even if we put it sideways. Something like that. I'm quite happy with that. Let's go with it. Okay, because really there's so many options. You could spend a whole heap of time just enjoying trying different pieces, but I have to keep in mind I'm doing a video and I don't have the luxury to spend 20 minutes choosing exactly the right pieces, because let's face it, they're all going to be beautiful. So this time I'm inking before sticking, because it really is so much easier. Makes life a lot simpler doing it in the right order. Makes crafting easier doing it in the right order, but it probably makes life. Okay, so when we're overlapping these, there's parts that are going to be hanging over in space, so just need to be careful that you don't put glue in those areas. So I like to sort of put my thumb or finger where I don't want the glue, and then come out a bit from that, just to hopefully ensure that I'm not going to get glue in the wrong place. So I'm going to pop that down there. I'm just going to flip it over and make sure, and I did have a little bit of glue showing, so wiping that off so it doesn't stick to our coffee dyed paper. That, and then we're going to go in with our little lady tea card. Whoops, and I realized that she's overhanging as well, so which corner, I forgot to check. That corner is going to hang over into space. Just wipe that glue off. And I'm not reinforcing these little overhang bits because it's just a small part, and it's the bulk of it is already supported. So that's cute. I like that. Oh, my nose is dripping this morning. And it's not even really that cold this morning. It's cool, but it's not cold. Right, another sip of my very lukewarm coffee. Okay, the other thing I want to add is some lace. You know, make it really pretty. I think I'll just use the same lace as what I've used on the other one. This is some I found at a junk shop. And it is super pretty. So I think I'll go down this side this time. So I'm just doing one side. You could do the top or the bottom, just whichever. I'm just going to follow that line because the label's curved. So I'm following the line of that kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? Almost chandelier shape. And I think I'll do the same on this side. Just because my lace lends itself to that, and it curves the wrong way, so that's all right. That's fine. I am going to use my alcohol glue for gluing on the lace. Just unplug that. Sorry about reaching under the camera. I had it in my left hand and my rubbish bottle's on my right, so I was like, wrong hand. So don't need a lot of glue because it's only a light lace. Oops, trying to grab hold of it. Here we go, just a sweet little bit of lace on there. Okay, so now lay it down. That glue should hopefully be okay. Yeah, it doesn't feel sticky. So we're going to flip it over, make sure it's kind of straight on your piece, flip it over and fold in the ends to meet in the middle on the back. Now don't fold it super tight because you want to be able to slip it on and off, and if it's really tight you might get it off, but then you probably won't be able to get it back on your paper. So leave just a little gap, but you don't want it so loose that it's just going to drop off. So just bear in mind, just leave a little bit of leeway. Okay, yep, I'm happy with that. And then we're going to glue that down. I'm not worried about putting glue on both ends because we're going to put a word across it. Now, if you don't want to use a word, you could use washi tape or another label or something of that sort and across the back instead. Okay, so let's look for, there's no yellow ones in here, so maybe we want to go with a neutral, white. I want something longer or bigger than that. Yeah, I don't think I want pink. We could go green. Let's just dig in my little box here. There's so many choices. Looking for some bigger ones is what I'm trying to do. What about blue? How would blue look? Well, that one's too long, but what about this one? We've got the blue lady on the front, so that's not too bad. Could just go white. Actually, I like that better. Okay. Gonna ink around it. So it's quite a quick little project, and I think it will lend itself well to mass making if you're a mass making type of person. I think like you could do all your coffee dyed paper, then you could do all your strips, then you could go through and lay out all your chosen elements and then glue those on. Yeah, I think it would lend itself quite well. So that's just going to go on there. And then this one's done. So really quite a quick project, but fun. And I think really sweet. I mean, these papers make anything look sweet. So I haven't put glue under here, and it doesn't matter because this is going to hold it down in place anyway. Delightful. So there we have another piece. Oops, random word floating around my desk. Aren't they cute? I think they are just so adorable. Little bundles, or it's not really a bundle because it's one sheet of paper, but little concertina. Look, they're not even the same height. You know, whatever size works. Okay, let's do another one. I'm sure we've got time for another one. Oh, we've got heaps of time. So let's fold this paper. And again, this is not cut straight. I cut these as a in a stack, so if one's off, then they're all going to be off. That's okay. Just give it a wee trim. It'll be fine. Fold that one back on itself. And then flip it over, and this one. Oh, I've got glue stuck to my fingers. Don't like the feel of that when I'm doing something. It just is, one, it's distracting, and two, I feel like I can't feel things properly, like paper that I'm handling, and it just makes me think everything I'm touching is got something stuck on it, but it's not my paper, it's me. So yes, you're probably well used to me kind of trying to clean my fingers off as I'm working, because it just really annoys me. So that's ready. You might probably noticed I haven't inked around these, and that's deliberate. You know, it's beautiful coffee dyed paper. I don't think it really needs it. Right, how about we use one of these this time? Something different. That one's nice. Yep, let's use that. So going to do... Right, remember to ink the pieces this time, my dear. So this time I'm going to bring it in slightly. Because it's just a plain rectangle, I can bring it in slightly, trim the two edges, and then I shouldn't have to do any more cuts. It should fit nicely inside. Oops, trimmed a bit off the label. It's only the black border, it's fine. Okay, so there we go, because I just offset it when I cut it. That is absolutely perfect. So let's ink around it, and it will cover that bit where I chopped into the black border. And where I've left white outside of the black border as well. Covers that nicely, and just giving that's a wonky bit of paper, but it's okay. I think this side is my preferred side. No, not that there's anything bad on it, it's just seems to be slightly happier side, shall we say, the narrative of the story. Right. Okay, so let's glue on. Make sure this is up the right way that we want it. Get rid of the shrapnel off my desk. And go. Oops. Right, line this up on my mat so I can kind of get this straight up and down. Oops, and then don't move it when you've placed it accidentally. There we go. Flip it over and put some glue on this bee on the book page. Because it's the smaller bit, you want to glue the smaller bit rather than put it on here, otherwise you could have glue out the sides. So always put it on the smaller part. There we go. And I just realized I probably should have inked around the back of the label part as well. So if you're inking, do that as well. So I'm just going to touch that up now. I know, inking takes time, but I really do prefer the look, so I don't mind taking the time. I didn't ink my band. Oh well, that's all right. We'll just run with that. Like, as I said, it's not necessary, and I just said that I prefer that look, but, you know, it's okay. Right, there's some of these that are horizontal, and I'm thinking about using a horizontal one, like, excuse me, this little birdie with the roses. Right, need to just lay it on here, so I can... Like, I wouldn't want it hanging off the side of my piece. I could perhaps push this over to the side. No, I think it's too long. What about the smaller one? Can we find the smaller one or something? Here we go. something else that was horizontal. I don't want to hide all this bit down the bottom because I think that's pretty. Probably happier to put it there. Yep, I like that. And maybe on this one we'll go with a fussy cut instead of another label, like I did on my first one that I did off camera, my prototype. I used a fussy cut. So just that bottom corner that I don't want glue on. Check that there's no glue overhang. There was just a touch. Okay, so that needs to sit further over, so this center part is not central, so that the whole thing is centered, if that makes sense. That sounded like it didn't make sense, but hopefully you know what I mean. We could go with a shoe. I don't know how I feel about a shoe sitting on top of the birdie's head though. That's quite pretty. I want something taller though. No, that's going to obscure the bird. There's another shoe. No, don't want a shoe on top of the bird's head. Or there's a smaller. Actually, I quite like it there, I think. Which one do I prefer? That one or that one? No, I think I'll go with that one. Right. There's also a hand. What about a hand? That goes that way. That's kind of cool too, but I think I'll stick with the rose. Just give it a little ink around. This would fit within the little bit of lace challenge too, wouldn't it? Using up little bits of lace. So maybe I'll use that as a hashtag as well for those that are following the little bit of lace challenge that was started by Corey Darman, and I found out about it through Gail Agostinelli. I haven't actually done any videos on it, hadn't given it too much thought, but this would actually work for that project or that challenge, so I think I'll include it, because why not? Right, let's see if we've got a different bit of lace we might want to use in my little pottle. I don't want anything heavy or super wide. We just want a little bit, because it's not a big piece that we're dealing with, so we want it to be, that's why that other lace is a perfect size, but I don't want to just use all the same. We're going to just put, actually this time I might put a bit at the top and a bit at the bottom. There and there. So it will cover over some of the design, but you know, how can you argue with pretty? You can still see peeps of it through the lace, so I think that's fine. Oops, wrong glue bottle. It was felt empty, that one. It was tacky glue, not alcohol glue. Oh, have I got another plug? This glue dries over the nozzle just so easy, and every time I use it I've got to unplug it. But it's just a skin over top, so it's not like down in the nib or the nozzle, whatever the correct term is. I think the neighbour's cat just tried to come in, It made one of our other cats come to attention. Right, I've just got a little overhang there. I'm just going to be pedantic and snip it off. Go, and this bit at the top. It's not straight, but that's okay. Just pop it down on top of the pattern and then it becomes less obvious that it's not straight. Cute. I think that's adorable. Okay, let's place it here where we want it. Flip it over and fold in the sides. Hey Georgie. Just giving it a little bit of room there. Or did you want cuddles, Georgie? Mummy's busy. Right, okay. So there we have our next one, and let's find something for the back. Oh, cat's coming and going. They're so noisy through the cat door too. Don't know if you can hear the cat door. What colours have we got on the front? Green would actually be okay. Optimism. It's a good word. Let's just go with that rather than hunt through 1,000 different options once again. I'm thinking maybe I should actually separate those words out, maybe into either colour or size. But I do like having them all in there as well, so I don't know. I don't know which way is easier. And the fact that all this, I know what the types of words, I know the look of them, I know the size of them, all in the one container, where if I separate them all out, then it's like, which container am I grabbing for which colour or size, or so maybe they're just better the way they are. I don't know. If you have suggestions, throw them at me. If you think there's a better way of organising those. There we go. So it doesn't have to blend, it can be nice and prominent. Oh, they're so cute. I just love these. I think they are adorable. So I used a single rose on that one. This is my prototype. Oh, I love them. They are so cute. What do you think, guys? Do you like this project? Are you going to give it a go? If you don't have this ephemera, although I highly recommend that you go and grab it from Etsy because it's so full of goodness. But you could use whatever labels. You could use book images, you know, whatever you've got in your stash. Scrapbook paper even, if you know, had some nice little pieces of images or something on scrapbook paper. Use what you've got, people. And if you really want this ephemeral kit, which I highly recommend, then go grab it. Link is in the description box, along with all the design team members. So you need to go to their channels and look for their videos that have the hashtag allthingsroses in order to find their freebies. Remember, it ends on the 29th of February. After the 29th of February, you can only get your hands on them by purchasing them on Etsy. So why not grab them while they're free? From the generous Michelle at the Junk Journal Studio. She's so kind. Anything else I need to tell you? Just have fun. Have a play. Take care, and I'll be back again with another video tomorrow. Until then, have a great day.